Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thank you to Water Cleanup of Florida. I talk about this every single day, and it may get to harping. Hopefully it's not annoying, but it's something that I am very passionate about because I do suffer. If you've listened to anything I've ever said over the years with Defo, and if you're new to us, a lot of you are new to what we do here with 5 Reasons Sports, but we've been doing shows for a long time. I do have a tinge of anxiety, and that definitely isn't just with sports. It crosses over to every part of life. With my wife and I, a lot of the times when things happen with the house, she has a lot going on. I pay attention to it. I worry about it, and I try to get it done. Well, knowing a place that has been around a long time, has a lot of experience, knowing that they're easy to access, they're easy to get in touch with, and that they can fix whatever the problems are, makes your life a lot easier. Well, all those things are encompassed in Water Cleanup of Florida. The fact that they have over 60 years of combined experience between Michael, Robert, and their team. The fact that they have licensed contractors, so they can actually fix whatever is found. The fact that they are available 24/7 for you to contact them when you find an issue with your home. Water Cleanup of Florida is exactly what I've been looking for, and I'm sure they'll be what you're looking for if you have any home issues, whether it's water, flood, fire, mold. Water Cleanup of Florida is your place to go. Just give them a call. 954-579-0356, 954-579-0356, or visit us at the website wcufl.com, wcufl.com. If you mention 5 Reasons or Lubie, you get a free inspection during business hours. Check out the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL, Water Cleanup of Florida. We'll clean up your schmutz. NBA Finals wrapped up last night. You had Game 6. I was right. I said it here yesterday. I've said it a lot of different places. Look, I thought the Warriors were clearly the better team. I thought if the Warriors didn't mess around, they could win this series in 5. But because we've seen the Warriors penchant to sort of have these really sloppy stretches of play. And look, in the end, the Celtics found a way to be even more sloppy, which I kept talking about. The one thing for the Celtics was they weren't sloppy. No, I didn't realize they actually do have long stretches of being turnover prone. And that was a major issue in Game 5. That was also an issue in Game 6. The Warriors had their moments early. Celtics jumped out to a big lead. Warriors stormed back, had the longest, had a 21-0 run, which is the biggest run in an NBA Finals game in 50 years. Got a big lead, but then the Celtics came back because the Warriors do have these stretches of Draymond is trying to throw behind the back and one passes on a transition in the NBA Finals Game 6, which I don't understand from a team that's won that much. However, they did keep it to a minimum. They were aggressive, played really well. Last night was a game I thought we'd see in this series where the Warriors dominated and the Celtics tried to hang around, and eventually the Warriors just too much. That's what last night was. The series wasn't great. The NBA playoffs haven't been great, but we do have a champion. The Golden State Warriors have won their 4th title in 8 years. Their 7th title as a franchise, surpassing the Chicago Bulls as 3rd all time. We talked about it with the one and only Ian Eagle. He's either the 2nd or 3rd team for TNT NBA. He's on the 2nd broadcasting team with another good friend of ours, Charles Davis, for the CBS NFL action. He also the voice of the Brooklyn Nets, does Westwood One NFL, does college basketball with CBS and TNT, TBS, True TV, and he does tennis as well. A man who does a lot, wears a lot of hats, and somehow still is a friend of ours and joins us. We talk NBA Finals, and we talk about what's going on or what could have happened between the Miami Dolphins, Sean Payton, Tom Brady, right here, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network with Ian Eagle. All right, man, before we talk NFL and being Mr. CBS, I guess you're number 2, but you're really number 1. We know Nance is really, it's not on the wall. It's right in front of his face.
We can say he's washed up, yeah.
He knows. He knows.
Hello, friends.
I think he's even accepted it. It's not even, bitter. It's sort of acceptance at this point. Before we talk more NFL, you do a lot with the NBA, as Defo sort of underscored. Last night we had Game 6, NBA Finals. Series wraps up. Warriors win their 4th title in 8 years. It's funny. I saw something and I thought it was ludicrous. Defo and I sort of mock these things because whether it's teams or players, the eras, it's hard to compare them. The
Yeah.
basketball is so different from every 10 years, literally from the 90s, 2000s to now. However, what do you do with the Warriors dynasty? Because it is a dynasty. 4 titles in 8 years, different machinations, but the same core. To me, it's up there with any of them. Where do you put it with all the great dynasties over the last, I guess, 40, 50 years, 60 years?
Yeah, I think the difference in trying to assess this compared to previous ones, the Bulls, the Spurs,
yeah.
the
Lakers,
teams
Celtics.
that had consistent success, and I'm not even going all the way back.
Okay.
And you're right, the Lakers get thrown in there based on what they did, not only through the Magic Kareem years, but then the Shaquille Kobe years, and then it was Kobe and Pau Gasol. Shaq wasn't even a part of it. I think the difference to me is that this team has changed the game. The game has changed based on the way the Warriors play the game. And that doesn't mean that that's it. This is the way it's always going to be. There's always going to be alterations and adjustments, and a new coach with a fresh perspective will come in, and there'll be a new way, and it might be closer to the old way to win championships. But the key figure in that is Steph Curry, and he is incredibly unique in his approach. And I know that there are those out there that feel, oh man, kids are watching this and this is going to set off bad habits because they just don't have that talent. But shooting the basketball is where we are now. And that doesn't mean just shooting it well. It means shooting it, not thinking twice. I know Defo will watch these games and think to himself, this is a 2-on-1 break, and they're taking a 3.
Yes.
This goes against everything that we've been taught our entire
Jewish senator, you would
Yes.
have been kicked off the team by the rabbi himself. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think in historical perspective, you have to acknowledge that they really did change the game. For the better of it, for the worse of it, that's for history to figure out when we try to analyze this 25, 30, 35 years down the road. For now, it's a really fun style. They're really good at it. And beyond the fact that they just take a lot of threes, they are a cohesive team. They've got so many boxes checked on their squad. What Wiggins came in and provided for them, the improvement that we saw from him since his Minnesota days to now in pressure situations. Kevon Looney, who I don't know if he would make every NBA team. There are a bunch of teams that would look at his skill level and say, we don't really need that. Well, but this team did need it, and he provided something that they so desperately needed, and that was proven time and time again. Draymond Green, who is one of the most difficult players to truly break down and say, what's his value to the team? The value is winning.
Yeah.
That guy wins games. He does it in his way, and it can get under your skin if you're not a fan of the team or if you're an opponent. But they figured a lot of stuff out. I haven't even mentioned Thompson or Poole, the guys that are key contributors. Thompson, not the player he once was, but still very effective. Poole, who was tossed to the side after his rookie year. Everybody just assumed, all right, the Warriors made a mistake. This guy's never going to be a contributor. He is an amazing player and playmaker and creator. And they did it all without James Wiseman, who was supposed to be a big part of this. So they've got some secret sauce going there, and it all starts with Steph Curry.
Good karma surrounding Steve Kerr. I mean, seems to be a catalyst for every type of dynasty, whether he's playing or coaching, and always a big factor. Probably shouldn't be overlooked. It's maybe the only great move that Mike Tannenbaum made in his executive career when he got him that job. Instead of taking the job with the Knicks, where Kerr would have certainly not mentioned in the same breath as Red Holzman. If he had taken that gig and probably been gone after 2 years and back to doing broadcasting. I know, but the curiosity, Iron Eagle, and it's great to have you here on After Hours with Defo and Lubie, the great Iron Eagle, CBS, TNT, many other affiliations and distinctions. But, we're watching shooting percentages that are appalling from three-point range. So, I know he's a bit of a curmudgeon. He likes you, by the way, Phil Mushnick in the New York Post. I mean, he's been screaming about this, how the game has been ruined, and there are many people that feel that way. So who would be, you work with many different people on these broadcasts, who's your favorite go-to guy when a team is 3 for 35 from three-point range? and you have to find new adjectives and way to describe a brick.
Right. Oh man. I mean, look, on the basketball side, Stan Van Gundy, who I've had the pleasure of working with 2 of the last 3 years, he went back to coaching for the 1 year in New Orleans, and obviously they ended up going in a different direction, and he came back to broadcasting. He's just so honest. He can't help it. So if you're on the air with him and that's happening in front of his face, he can't hit his cough button. He can't mute himself.
That's great, though.
The real feelings
Oh,
are
he's
going
great.
to come out.
That's
I think
great.
there's something in the Van Gundy gene pool that they can't not be honest. So it's always fun working games with him and feeling his reaction in real time, his disappointment as a coach, his disappointment as a purist of the game and somebody who wants to see it played the right way. And when there's a lack of execution, you can feel it in his voice, in his words, in the verbiage. He's someone that obviously will react viscerally to what's happening on the court, and that's just because he's been a basketball lifer. So he would be the one that comes to mind. If things are going south and you're sitting next to a guy, he's just not going to sugarcoat it. He's not capable.
He was a go-to guy for me when he was sort of a mid-level assistant with the original Miami Heat, or shortly after they came into existence. And I had a Sunday morning radio show that I was obligated to do 6 to 10 on a Sunday morning on an AM radio station. It was much more popular, the medium at the time, than it would be now. You wouldn't be able to find an audience unless you were running reruns of an Ernest Angley tape. But Stan was one of my go-to guys, and he was so articulate and so entertaining to talk to about virtually anything. That any time he was able to come on the show, I always had him come into the studio for an hour, and he was kind of an early discovery because he wasn't really that well known. He wasn't necessarily the second assistant or anything, and turned out to be a terrific guy. So I can appreciate where you're coming from, and if you see him again anytime soon, and you can remember, thank him for bailing me out on what otherwise would have been a dreadful Sunday morning, begging for phone calls from the usual chronics. Mel and Miramar, if you're out there, feel free to call in, man. We got a lot to talk about on the show here. We can talk baseball, football, basketball, whatever you guys want. It was that level of sports talk. Just desperate.
Yeah, that was my go-to phraseology if I was doing a strange shift at WFAN radio. I didn't want to admit that nobody was calling in, so my code words were, "Hey, open phone lines. We're taking you until noon today." And that, if you got one person who's like, "Open phone line," that means I can call and get right through. We had a lot of those. And then when it was never a good sign. It was never a good sign when you were interviewing the caller.
Yes.
You wouldn't let him go.
Yes.
The caller wanted to go. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though we all know your opinion
so much,
sucks.
Really. Yeah. Ian, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time. Well, one more thing for you, Rick. That's not a good call.
We have the rapers at the stand outside the gate there. Yeah, those are really good. Yeah. I've done them. Yeah, no, you've been there. It's amazing how you have progressed.
I've been there.
I have somewhat remained in the same spot here. I must love the torture and the career self-sabotage that I've been able to enact throughout my lifetime here. All right, big mystery story. One more thing, if you don't mind, Ian Eagle. We appreciate you taking time here out of your vacation and your free time, which is so precious, I would imagine, when you work a massive schedule like you do. But we had this big story which popped up again about the Dolphins' plans were to maybe hire Sean Payton like at some ridiculous Gruden-esque, grotesque amount of money.
Yeah.
And then they did supposedly, it resurfaced again that there may have been some merit to the story that originally surfaced when Brian Flores fired off this vicious lawsuit against them and accused him of virtually everything, including like sexual assault. But they brushed that off, and part of the allegation or assertion was that they were forcing him to have an illegal tampering meeting with Tom Brady, who was going to become their quarterback. Which you can sort of see this, from this organization, the way they've operated, that maybe they had a plan A which would have been, blockbuster material. And then they still ended up making news with Plan B. But a couple of things arise from that. A, do you believe that any of that was in play, Iron Eagle? I mean, from whatever you hear around the National Football League sources that you have. And B, what does that say about Tua and what they think of him, that they wanted to have what we've been saying for the last 5 years, although proven wrong, a washed-up
It's
Tom
like 10
Brady
years.
come in for like 1 year to be their quarterback?
Yeah. Well, I do believe there's something to it. I don't believe this is completely man-made, artificial, create a story, and let's see if it gets some legs. I think there's definitely something to it. The way that Sean Payton exited, the way that Tom Brady retired and then came back, none of it felt completely true. It just didn't feel like it was being presented in the way that Tom Brady would have retired. If he was really retiring, that didn't feel like the way that it would happen. So
yeah,
I do think there was not just smoke here, but there was fire. And what Flores did probably played a big role in blowing the thing up, because at that point, how do you continue without a massive lawsuit and the rest of the league figuring out, oh, wow, they had concocted something, a way to circumvent the rules in place to make this happen. With that said, it didn't happen. So whether this was Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, here we are. And I do think, similar to what we talked about earlier with the Jets, teams are in their best spin mode during these months, during the April, May, June, July, heading into the preseason, where they're trying to create some interest and try to provide something for fans to latch onto. The Dolphins' buzz has been real. That's been genuine. And I think when the smoke clears, they still might be in a pretty good place. If Tua and this marriage with the coach works, the Dolphins might be okay amidst all this, despite whatever their grand plans may have initially been.
Truly enjoy each and every time we talk with Iron Eagle. Look, when it comes to the NFL, he knows as well as anyone. He's covered it, worked with the NFL, broadcasted their games for now decades, and we joke around. There is not anyone I'd rather hear on a broadcast than Iron Eagle, and he does not every sport, but he does a lot of the major sports, and he does an amazing job. And whether it's basketball with Stan Van Gundy or the NFL with Charles Davis, those are two really amazing color analysts that we've spoken to throughout the years, and Ian is as good a play-by-play person as there is in the game. He's also hilarious. He started out in radio, so he sort of gets it. We have a great time with him. He's really fun, and he has become a friend over the years, so he sort of gets whatever the heck it is that we do. I talked about the NBA Finals, the Warriors, really to put in perspective, because that's what we do. We have to, what is the legacy? Where do the Warriors stack up? The national media is doing this. I don't know. To me, I talked about, the eras are so different that I don't know what exactly you do with the Warriors. Where do they rank? I don't know. To me, this team, when they had Kevin Durant, was as good as any team in the history of the NBA. Like, they literally had 4 legit all-stars, 4 legit guys that could be MVP candidates, 4 legit guys that could be All-NBA, maybe first-teamers. Not every team had that, even the great teams. So, especially at that time, they all were in their prime at that time. Durant, Thompson, Draymond Green, and Curry were all in their prime. The Celtics in the 80s, it couldn't always say that. The Lakers in the 80s, Kareem was still great, but he really wasn't in his prime. He was great, but he still wasn't in his prime. Like the Bulls, Jordan, those 3 guys were in their prime, but they didn't have 4. So to me, they stack up with anyone. Wherever you want to rate them, do that. But I would talk about where they, not rank, but just about their legacy, this dynasty. That isn't done. It's ongoing, as they have a young crop of talented guys that are going to continue this thing with the Warriors. We also talked about, had to have that Miami connection. These reports, these rumors that we've touched on about Miami Dolphins trying to get Tom Brady, Sean Payton. What did that mean? Ian touched on that as well, that where there's smoke, there's fire. And it all comes down to Tua this year. He's heard a lot of buzz for the Dolphins. It's legitimate. And if Tua can really play, then it's going to be a lot of fun for Dolphins fans and the Miami Dolphins. We shall see. Hopefully you all have a fun week, and happy Father's Day to one and all. If you want to check out more of us, our exclusive content podcast, The Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. Also, each and every morning, check us out, South Florida Live. Just Google The Defo Show with Lubie, Google South Florida Live, YouTube, The Defo Show with Lubie, YouTube, South Florida Live. On Facebook at SoFly Live or South Florida Live channel each and every day, 7 to 9. We do our whole thing there, and every day, South Florida content right here. The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.